So my name is Dr. Winifred Soribe, as Professor Jill has introduced already. I've just recently completed my PhD in Entrepreneurial Finance. I've been working with the Within Factory Small Business Incubator for over 2 years now, so I'm quite familiar with the ecosystem there and with some of the actors there already. Professor Christina has already done a very fine work, providing background information on the quantitative, the number side of the data collected. I am now coming more on the qualitative side. The interviews were conducted more on, just to draw out some of the key themes that have emerged from the data. Like Professor Christina has said, these are preliminary findings. These are not the final findings. These are just initial, what we've been able to gather so far from what we've conducted. In those breakout sessions, highlight some of the questions we've tried to gather is what is missing from the ecosystem, what are the weaknesses, and so I'm going to be highlighting what actors within the ecosystem have said is missing from the ecosystem, what are some of the strengths, some of the recommendations that have been made by actors in the ecosystem. Now, the methodology that I've adopted for this research is more of an exploratory study. We've come in as outsiders, international experts, so Professor Christina from France, myself from the UK, very much as independent observers to understand what the Tacoma entrepreneurial ecosystem is like. So that's really where the exploratory approach has come from. The same as the induction, it's just all trying to understand what is happening in the ecosystem there. Now, like Professor Christina has said, we've conducted 50 interviews since last year, September. 49 of them were valid. The people or the actors of the ecosystem that we interviewed have been categorized in these 4 groups. So support providers constituted 35% of those that were interviewed. The academics constituted 10%. Finance providers 10% as well. The entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship club leaders, and the media all regrouped as one category, and they represented the largest groups that were interviewed. Now, in terms of the methodology for generating these themes, we just looked at what was the common word, not necessarily words, but ideas and interpretations that were repeated over and over again. So that's how we systematically identify these themes that we're going to share today. Now, if you focus on what is missing from the ecosystem, several things did emerge. But one of the strongest was from the support providers, and that was collaboration between actors. And it's something that is very essential to the building of ecosystems. Communication amongst actors, again, was something that was reiterated, and structural support for startups. Now, I'm going to sort of explain that a bit more. Now, if you look at collaboration, some of the quotes that had come in to support that was nobody knows each other, but they are doing the same work. And this was really an entrepreneur trying to highlight the role, the manner in which support providers worked together in the ecosystem, highlighting that the collaboration can be improved. It's not that collaboration isn't there, it is there to a reasonable extent. It just can be improved. Something else is communication amongst actors. Again, more opportunities for people to network. And then, if we dig deeper, something that some of the actors did say, well, then annual conference, like the one that is being held today, is something that gives actors from different categories the opportunity to come together and, network, exchange ideas, and just think about how to make the ecosystem better. Now, limited support from policymakers, again, this was something that did come out again from the data, and here it's saying policymakers don't have an in-depth understanding of startups and what needs to be done with entrepreneurship. And this is quite important because policy making does play a very essential role in building an ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem, because they create the right environment, whether it's in the right form of taxes, in the business rates that are charged, in the safety that is provided for the environment. Policy does create a very strong role. So it just highlights that some work needs to be done in that area as well. So this is just a summary. Now, moving on to the strength of the ecosystem, again, there's really lots of nice things to say about doing business in Tacoma. And one of the key things that did emerge is that Tacoma seems to be a good place to start a business. It seems to be a fertile ground. So businesses start there, and then afterwards they do move on to other, maybe leave Tacoma to other cities. Now, some of the themes were supportive environment. So here we're seeing an academic saying that there are few education programs which are available for free online. And of course, education is extremely important. Not necessarily, some people might argue academic, but some form of education, especially for people who have come from non-business disciplines. If you think about engineers or creatives, you need to still have the business knowledge to be able to successfully run your venture. Now, moving on, lots of opportunities. Again, this is an entrepreneur saying Tacoma is a gold mine with so many opportunities here. So this was quite good to see. Again, so looking to that theme of it is the opportunities for businesses to thrive and start up in Tacoma and Pierce County. Now, strong sense of community, finance providers highlighting that Tacoma has got nice people, which is very essential. When you have community people willing to support local businesses, small businesses, it's very essential to startups, doing well and succeeding in that environment. Now, the final bit looks at recommendation for the ecosystem, and this is looking forward. What are the things that can be done better? What can we do to make and improve Tacoma's entrepreneurial ecosystem? Now, again, some of the key themes, I think the strongest that they come out from the data was equip entrepreneurs with skills and resources, attract investors, and encourage collaboration. So these were some of the strong themes that did emerge. Now, attract investors, again, and this is an entrepreneur saying things like attract more creative and business capital for startups. And I think, some of the concerns were, if you look at Tacoma, it's only one venture capital firm, I think, at the moment. So thinking about ways to attract more, creative or innovative investors into Tacoma would be quite good for the ecosystem, because as you would understand, when you're funding innovative startups, conventional loans would not be suitable for those kinds of business. So of attracting venture capitalists, business angels into the local community would be helpful as well. Equip entrepreneurs with skills and resources. Again, what you see support providers say here, something that has emerged strongly, from the data, especially, during the focus groups. We've conducted 4 focus groups over the last 2 days, as Professor Christina highlighted. And one of the things that, all groups did highlight is the need to build an inventory based on the process of who does what. It's essentially a form of signposting. If I start a business today, who do I go to for what? If I, say, if I need a certain document or I need to do something specific for my business, there's no sense of signposting for where I can get those services from, and that would essentially make a lot of difference for the ecosystem. Now, finally, reduce barriers to entry. Here, really, it's thinking about storefronts, providing more space for entrepreneurs, creating a more safe environment for people to do businesses, and things like that. So here, one of the media personnel did say, because we also interviewed a few media outlets, saying more could be done with activating storefronts, which would provide cheap space for entrepreneurs, especially when you look at the rising cost of living. Some form of incentive can be provided to entrepreneurs to be able to get spaces for them to do businesses. Now, this is now just a summary, and here what I'm really trying to highlight are the key themes that have emerged from the three categories that have been analyzed. Missing from the ecosystem, the key thing there is collaboration between actors, and this is echoed very strongly by support providers. Strengths of the ecosystem, again, this is looking at a supportive environment, and this is echoed very strongly by entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurship program, the media saying, that's one of the things that attracts entrepreneurs into Tacoma, Pierce County, the degree of support you get when you're starting your business. Recommendation, again, equipping entrepreneurs with skills and resources, being able to provide expert support, some sense of signposting, those kinds of things would be helpful for businesses to thrive. Now, as I finalize, thinking about what is next. So we've been able to, like we said, we're in the initial stages of the data collection. We've collected some quantitative data. We've collected some qualitative data as well. We're now thinking, how do we move forward with what we've collected so far? So we're looking for ways to build on the strength of the ecosystem. There's so much good things that lie within Pierce County already, and we have to acknowledge and celebrate those things as well. So it's building on those strengths that we've highlighted, developing competencies to close gaps in the ecosystem. How can we know what is missing, how can we develop the right skills to be able to make sure that, we close those, or support or make available those things or those elements that are currently missing from the ecosystem. And then, recommendations have been provided. Again, Professor Christina and I have come as independent observers, all the way from Europe, so not in North America at all. So these recommendations that have been provided are not by us, they're provided by ecosystem actors in Pierce County. So it's really saying how to implement these recommendations so that an efficient entrepreneurial ecosystem can be created. So that's it in terms of my presentation. I'm quite glad I was able to round that, within the hour. I look forward to any questions you may have. My contact email address is on the B Project website in case anyone wants to, discuss, some of the initial findings for them. So it's been a great pleasure presenting at this conference, and I look forward to any questions anyone has. Over to you, Professor Jim.
Thank you.